We're recording so we can share this after if anyone wants to come back and watch it. To start, we just wanted to briefly touch on the scoring system. I know most of you have seen this since we've been talking about it pretty much since last allocation cycle in June. Make sure you all take a look at it as you're filling out your application. This first page is all related to the sponsor level, so organization level information that we'll be looking at, particularly as it relates to the LOI, that first stage of the application that opens tomorrow through the 15th of the month. And then the next couple of pages, are on the projects, which resolve information that you guys will dive into as applicants starting in March. I can't stress enough that as you're going through your application and LOI to score yourself and reference this just to see, to make sure that you're completing the application as completely as you can. So this is what you as a staff will use to evaluate applications as we're going through them. If you guys need quick access to this, we do have it linked in the application. Otherwise, here on the funding page for resort tax, if you just visit our website, resorttax.org, and then click funding, hits all the scoring systems on here and all the other links to things that we'll be covering today, so that you just have quick access to all of them. Does anyone have any questions on the scoring system? Well, banners in the way. So first we'll dive into the LOI or letter of inquiry. So this is what opens tomorrow morning. It's the first stage. It's kind of your intent to apply. We're keeping it very high level, mostly as it relates to the sponsoring organization. I won't take the time to read through every question. You guys will be able to do that. And again, the full question list for this LOI as well as the project application are linked here on the funding page if you guys do want to look through those. But we're just asking for a couple of acknowledgements at the beginning. If you're not sure that you meet any of these guidelines or acknowledgements, please give myself or Danny a call right away and we'll help you figure out the best path forward. Scoring system again is linked here if you need it, might be wherever it's easiest for you to get it. This tips and glossary is a very helpful document as well. Kind of just some application tips to set you all up for success as you're filling it out. And then we have created a whole glossary of any terms that maybe needed some clarification on the application and LOI throughout. So make sure that you either print this or have it open in a tab as you're filling out your LOI and project application. Just asking some very basic information. This year, we're allowing applicants to request up to 10 projects. So based on the number that you enter here, that's how many project sections will be visible throughout both the LOI and the application. You'll see as you're filling out the application what each of these questions will be used when it comes to the scoring system. This is the data that we'll be pulling and looking at when we as a staff are going through and scoring these applications. So it's easy for you to reference the scoring system as you're filling it out. Financial information for those of you that have applied in the past, it's very similar to years past. The sponsor efficiency worksheet is the same, very similar to what we had asked last year, just high level sponsor information from all of you to fill in. You'll just have to download it from this Dropbox link. All the formulas are built in for you. So you can fill that out and re-upload it. Again, it's linked on that funding page or here in the LOI if you need it to have it saved on your desktop while you're working through it. Give you all a quick look at it. Just a few organizational financial documents. We've trimmed it down from years past a little bit. We're really trying to be aware of only asking for information that we use to make a decision and help guide the board's decision-making process. And you'll see it in the glossary, but when we're talking about fiscal years, you don't need to match our fiscal year if yours is different. Just base everything on your organization's own fiscal year. As this is new, as a lot of you know, we've been working with both the counties and the local foundations strategically, so we're trying to get a sneak peek of what funding you're going to be asking from them as well as us. So please do your best to provide this information as accurately as possible, and know that we will share it with both counties and the local foundations as it does apply to them. And again, here you can see what we'll be using this information to obtain a score from. High-level information on your organization and how the community involvement that goes on with your organization and your volunteers. And then you'll see here, I entered that I'm applying for 3 projects for the sample. All the questions are the same on the project level. At this LOI level in the first 2 weeks, we just really want high level, what projects are you asking for, basic information. You'll see we put a lot of time and effort into setting you guys up for success so that you give us good project names, good project description, anything that we want a little more information on. We tried to be very clear on what we're looking for and how it'll be used. So make sure you read through all of these tips for success as they're through the LOI and the application. Please be thoughtful with your project names. Same thing with the description. You guys probably all received it last year. We send out a mailer before the allocation meetings to the community to show them what is being requested of resort tax. That's where we're going to use this project name and description. So please make sure that it is very descriptive so someone that had potentially just moved to Big Sky can understand what the project is, what the money is actually being requested for. And we're breaking projects up by investment types and impact areas. There's more detail on the different categories of these, just a way for us, you've probably seen it in our annual report, to just see how us as a district, we're making our investments and where our money is going. If you're unsure on what type of project you have, that's another great thing. Just reach out to us and we're happy to help guide you in the right direction and make sure that you're categorizing your projects the correct way. These project sections will be the same. They'll just be repeated how many ever number of times you have for projects. And then we're asking for a brief look ahead of any other projects that you might be asking for in future years. One question. Brad saying that since they're new, by referencing last year, Brad, if you have any questions on how it was done last year, we're more than happy to sit down with previous applications and go through them with you. All of these things that we're going over are also linked on that funding page for you to dive deeper into those documents, including all of the questions. I just want to be cognizant of everyone's time and not read through every single question this morning. Then once you're done, just verify that it's complete and accurate, and then you can submit it. New this year, we are asking the LOIs are completed by the 14th of February, and then we'll open up project applications on March 1st. It just gives us time as a staff to review them, to make sure that everything is accurate before we do invite folks to apply for those specific project applications.
The main reason we did it is because we were receiving LOIs that were coming in literally the day before the application is due, and we have to actually approve the LOI before the project application can get. Laura has a question for raised hand.
I think you have to allow her to talk on there. It's not letting me do it. Hit participants. Okay, Laura, we should be able to hear you.
Okay, thanks. So that I'm clear, the LOI is going to ask for all of the dollar amounts that we're asking for in each of our projects, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
And so how is the application going to be any different?
Application dives into the level of detail within each specific project. What we're getting are requests that aren't actually specifying the project plan, milestones, what you're actually trying to achieve with the project, those types of details. So it's look at it in terms of you're going to kind of 100,000 foot level. The LOI is looking at the very high cursory glance of what your request is going to be, and then you'll dive into your specific request within the project application.
So because this is due quite a little bit earlier than I think we normally did, like my board always spends their February board meeting to make sound decisions about our requests. Yeah, so what if we end up changing the amount requested in the application? Is that possible?
It is possible. I mean, it is what it is. It's just change. I mean, I think you can note if you had to change something, Laura, or anyone who's listening, just note that the timing of when the LOI opened up didn't match up with the board meeting. So just make a note as to why you would be changing it.
Okay, thanks.
Lizzie is asking if they're due the 14th or 15th of February 15th, sorry for any confusion on that. We'll dive into that project application, Laura. Hopefully this will give a little more clarification of what we're asking for on that. So again, we as a staff will review the LOIs, the high level, kind of what your organization is doing and what you're asking for at very high level between February 15th and March 1st. Every project that we feel meets our qualifications, then we will go ahead and invite to apply beginning on March 1st. So then project applications, you can dive in with detail from March 1st to 31st. But again, on this funding page here, I do have it linked all of the questions as a PDF for both the LOI and the project application so that you can go ahead and have a look at those questions between now and then too. So this will carry over from the information that you give us between February 1st and 15th, just letting us know this starts with the first project, same thing as before. The application will be as big as it needs to be based on the number of projects you're applying for as an organization. So Laura, to your point, if anything does change, we'll have to change it on the back end. Just let us know and we'll allow you to provide any explanation. This is where we dive into a little more detail at the project level so that the board can help learn or understand what the project will actually be covering. Again, other tips for success, make sure you're reading through these and giving us the detail that we're asking for. We want answers to be specific and actually answering the question we're looking for. Goals, all of this is on the scoring system. New this year, we're asking for partner letters. So if you are working with another organization on a specific project, we do ask that they provide a letter to include what they are doing and how they're helping with this project. That may take some time, so you're more than welcome to reach out to those partners now and ask them to provide a letter. We are asking for a letter from each partner to prove that you are actually working with them and in what capacity. Again, you'll see what we're looking at from the scoring system perspective. We want specific financial information on each project. So based on the number of projects you say you're applying for, that's how many times you'll have to provide this information unique to each of the projects. The project's budget is also linked on the funding page, just a little more specific detail on the actual financials of the project and the different funding sources, and what the funds from your resort tax would be used for, based on these different kind of line items. Again, if you want to dive in deeper, we do have this linked on our website. We're on a 3-year forecast. We're asking, for this year, this year in terms of this conversation is FY23, the fiscal year starting on July 1st. And then so FY23, 24, and 25 is how far we're looking out as an organization. So we just want to kind of know what's potentially coming down the pipeline for future requests. And if you have a large scale construction project, you'll be asked to fill out a little more detail. We just need more information since it's such a big project and we want to make sure that we're making a sound investment. You'll only see these questions if you answer yes, this is a construction large scale project. And then we ask you to verify your application. So much more specific project detail at this level. Again, the application will be as long as it needs to be based on the number of projects you're applying for as the organization. And again, feel free to go to this funding page. All of the stuff that we've covered, the glossary, all of the questions as a PDF for both the LOI and the project application are on here if you want to start sharing them with your board, others in your organization. Same with those, the project level budget and then the sponsor worksheet. It's all right here for you to have access to and be working on between now and those deadlines of February 15th and March 1st. Anyone else have any other questions, comments, concerns? Reach out to us at any time too as things come up as you're working through your application. That's what we're here for. We're more than happy to help at any point along the way.
That's it, folks. There's 2 sections. There's the LOI and then the project details. Does anyone need to see anything or want to review anything specific within those areas? Maybe share your screen and show the categories collapsed.
At the project level, since that's where we left off. So the overview of your project, all of which is pulled from the LOI, just that basic detail. Going into further detail, goals, metrics, all of that stuff is in the project detail. Financials, self-explanatory, that's where you'll fill out that budget that is linked also on our website. If you have a construction project, we're asking for some more detail and then verifying that everything's accurate. If you have 2 projects, you'll see all this information twice. If you have three times, so on and so forth. And then the LOI, which you guys will all be diving into hopefully tomorrow. Basic acknowledgements, making sure that you meet the guidelines of resort tax, but most of you are all familiar faces. High-level overview of what you're asking from resort tax, financial information, again, LOI, first step, think of it high-level, organization level information, a few financial documents from you, filling out that sponsor worksheet. Community engagement, just basic data points based on how your organization interacts with the community. project summary. That's where you'll be giving that high-level information of project name, description, and amount of all the projects that you plan to request for funding for FY23. And then a look ahead at anything else that might be coming to resort tax in future years. And then a basic, yep, everything's accurate, it's good to go. Again, same thing here. The more projects you have, the more summaries you'll have to provide. And everything you want and need is all linked here on the funding page on our website too.
Including the application.
Yes, in a PDF form. Make sure that you're filling out in the actual software and not on the PDF. We won't be able to see it.
Right, but if you want to look at everything now,
Yes.
you can. It's that fourth one down, project application question list.
Yeah, so if you want to start working, once you finish the LOI, or at the same time, you can go ahead and view all of the questions in PDF
Do we
form.
have the LOI question?
Yes, both are on there.
Yeah, that's. Does anyone have any questions? We'll give you some time back in your day. If not, it's pretty similar to what it was last year, just more specific with glossary terms, how the scoring system is being used, et cetera. So, question. Question was, when will we know more about Elevate Big Sky, the relationship between that and BizRad that will impact our ability to secure matching funds? I don't know when the Elevate Big Sky group will open up an application. I'd say it's a ways off, actually. Probably after our process actually is concluded for this year, is my guess. Sorry, that's not specific, but that's my best guess. Any other questions?
And again, if any of you have further questions, especially as they relate specifically to your organization or your projects, just give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to sit down with you one-on-one, in person, over Zoom, over the phone, however, and as much as needed too.
All right, well, thanks everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.